When it comes to plotting and structure, a lot of writers have their own forms of templates, or what they like to call silver bullets, for what is a great structure for them. There's times where I've seen writers with big notice boards in their house, and they've got diagrams linking their beginning to the middle and the character arcs going in directions, and this is how they will structure their book. I prefer something a little bit more simple. I prefer understanding my scenes. Now, when I talk about scenes, a lot of people think screenplay or play, but scenes are the essential building blocks of novels. Each bit where you've got characters confronting other characters are scenes. And by having a scene, you are in the action. So what I like to do is I like to think of what my scenes are going to be in the book, what are going to be the key, most vital, most important scenes, and then either put them down on paper in a notepad and in a form of like linear diagram, or actually just jump straight into the scene and start writing. Because in a way, once you get involved in the scene, you can start to see how your characters act and what works and what doesn't work. And that can actually influence the structure later on and maybe lead to another scene being needed, or maybe lead to a bit of a rethink of the scenes that you've already planned. Now, two novels which I love that do this incredibly well are Sally Rooney's Normal People and David Nichols's One Day. With Sally Rooney, once you get to the end of the chapter, you'll see the next chapter starts 3 weeks later, a month later, 3 months later, etc. But what actually happens is that the book goes from scene to scene to scene, and that gives it some really great flow. This doesn't necessarily say that there's no backstory, there's no time being filled in between. Sometimes in that scene, Sally would describe what her character has been doing over that period of time, but it doesn't feel like a drag. It feels that we're currently in a scene, we're also wanted to know how the characters got there, and Sally explains that well. And this structure to me works really well, and my advice for anyone kind of who's getting a bit bogged down in their planning is to try doing this method of going from scene to scene to scene. With One Day, that is exceptionally well structured. It takes a date, the 15th of July, starting in 1988, and as the title suggests, each scene is 1 year on that exact date, on that exact day, going forward, and seeing how the two characters interact and how their lives have changed and how they've kind of reached that point of transitioning out of their post-university lives, maturing and getting together. It's an absolutely wonderful story, but a great example of how you can just go into scenes and make your writing really flow.